Okay, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to bake a normal map inside of 3ds Max 2016. I'm also going to show you how to apply this normal map once it has been baked. I'm going to assume that you know what normal maps are and how to use 3ds Max and all its various tools, as well as how to use the Turbo Smooth modifier to create high poly models. Okay, let's begin. First things first, I want to go ahead and draw a cube in the viewport. And before I do anything, I want to name this low poly, and I also want to create a selection set. It's not really necessary, but I'm going to do it for this example. And I'm going to go ahead and change a couple of things. Drag in gray material. Okay. Turn on my edge faces. Next thing I'm going to do is I'll convert that to an editable poly and then create a duplicate. Okay. Just turn off this annoying bounding box that I have here. Okay, while I've got that selected, I'm going to call it high poly. And I'm also going to create a selection set for that one. Then I'm going to go ahead and align it to the center of this one, making sure that I have X, Y, and Z selected. With my high poly selected, I'm going to add a Turbo Smooth modifier with 3 iterations. I'm going to make sure to show the end result and then isolate it so I can see it. Now that I can see my low poly box, I'm going to go ahead and connect 2 segments, and I'm just going to do about 90. I'm going to harden these edges up, sharpen them up. So I'm just going to be connecting the edges. There we go. So that's sort of the hardness I was looking for. That's alright. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to go ahead and inset it, those faces, inset them. I want my wireframe to be on, inset them to probably something like that. Then I'm going to extrude that out to about 10, that's fine. Then I want to harden up these, so I'm going to go ahead and connect to harden them up. Connect that. Then connect that and connect that. Okay. Now I want to make these rectangular as well, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to harden up. Like that, there we go. And then last but not least, should be able to just connect that like that. It's probably going to be a bit pinchy, a bit pinched on the corners, but that's alright. This is for a normal map tutorial, so that's fine for the demonstration. So now that I've got my high poly, I'm going to go to my selection set, select my low poly. Because it is currently hidden, it's asking me, do I want to show it? Yep, that's fine. So I got my low poly. Let me go click on it again, and then let me go ahead, untick that. Let's try this again. Let me click on my low poly. I'm going to isolate it. And I need to unwrap this, so I'm going to add an unwrap UVW modifier. I'm going to open my UVW editor, and I'm going to go ahead and select all the faces, go to mapping, flatten mapping. I'm going to keep these to the default settings and click on OK. And just to double check, I'm going to click on my checker pattern, and I've got some nice squares, so that will be fine. Then I'm going to convert this down to an editable poly. Unisolate that. Now I can start the baking process. So 2 ways that you can access the baking menu, which is called render to texture. Very first way, you can click on the rendering option and click on render to texture, or you can press 0 on your keyboard. Okay, let's see now. General settings, okay, I'm leaving that as is. Render settings, click on your setup. Just make sure that your renderer is set to the default scanline renderer. We want to enable projection mapping, and we want to pick the high poly and click on add. This will now draw, this will now draw a projection box around your high poly. It will also add a modifier which is called projection, which we can now actually modify ourselves. So we're going to click on cage, we're going to select shaded and point to point. we're going to click on reset, so it resets that box, and then we're going to slowly but surely scroll up for the amount until that blue box covers any protruding, extruding things, anything that's sticking out, making sure that it's covered it just enough so that it's not sticking out of that blue box. And then now that that's done, I'm going to go back to my render to texture menu. I'm going to make sure that for my mapping coordinates I want to use existing channel, because if you use automatic unwrap it's not going to work out. Using existing channel means using the channel that you have assigned for the unwrap that you just did, which is by default channel 1. So make sure you do that. We're going to now click on add under the output. We want to add a normals map. We're going to click on add elements. You can name it what you want. I'm just going to set mine to 1024 by 1024. I'm going to make sure to click on these little dots icon next to file name and type so I can save it to my desktop. I'm going to save it as a target image file, and I'm going to go to click where it says name template, then I'm going to click on setup. I'm going to make it 24 bits per pixel and click on OK, and then I'm going to save. Okay, now double checking everything, I'm going to go to click on render, and it says the following elements do not specify a target map slot. That is alright. Click on continue, and there we go. It's all baked up nice and quick, nice and fast. I can exit this box, exit this one. I'm going to convert my low poly back to an editable poly, and then I'm going to go ahead and select my low poly and isolate it. Click on M for your material editor, and under the material that I've assigned, I'm going to make sure, just to double check, I'm going to click on assign material to selection and show shaded material in viewport. Then I'm going to double click on bump, and I'm going to double click on normal bump. Then I'm going to double click on normal and double click on bitmap, and I'm going to go to my desktop, select my normal map file. Then I'm going to click back on my material, and I'm going to scroll down to where it says maps, and I'm going to make sure that my bump is set to a value of 100 so it can be seen a lot clearer. Then I'm going to go ahead and making sure that my object is selected, assign, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to where it says shaded. I'm going to go down to where it says materials, and I'm going to select realistic materials with maps. I'm going to click on this, and now as you can see, I've successfully applied my normal map to my low poly object. As you can look at the wireframe, this is the low poly, and there you go, you've successfully baked and applied your normal map. I hope you have found this video useful, and thanks for watching.